everyone. Welcome to the Royal Variety. I am Lunara, representing the Royal Variety alone today. And today we're going to do some cooking. I decided that I enjoyed the last cooking episode I did a long while ago, so I'm going to do some more cooking episodes because they're easy and fun. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to do some doctoring up ramen cooking because it's easy. Ramen is not healthy. You should not eat it regularly, especially this cheap Maruchan stuff. It's definitely not good for you. But it's cheap, and I find it to be a very good base for getting rid of leftovers when you don't have a lot left over. And I like to eat it as noodles. I know a lot of people do actually make a soup out of it. I prefer not to do that. The way I was raised when I was a kid, my mom always drained the water off and added the soup base directly to the noodles. And I used to eat them plain, but I can't do that anymore. I just need more variety in my food than I did when I was a kid. So I'm going to be using half a pack that I've saved from the last time I made ramen, because what a lot of people don't realize, see, I don't know if I can get a good view on the camera here, but the serving size is only half a block of noodles, which doesn't sound like very much, and really it's not very much. I like to break mine up because I like shorter noodles. But here's the thing. So as you guys can see, this is not very much, half a block. Doesn't make very many noodles. But of course they're going to expand somewhat when you cook them. And not only is that going to happen, but you can still make this a fairly good meal when you add stuff. And I've often found that when I use the entire block and I add stuff, it usually ends up being too much food. And I'd rather add some healthy, fresh ingredients. We got about 1/3 of a cup chopped up mushrooms, about 1/2 cup spinach. I know this seems like a lot, but that's going to cook down pretty quickly once it hits the water. This is about 2 green onions. And then about 1/4 of a cup of leftover Italian beef with a little bit of extra broth. And together these are all going to make a really good meal. And together all of this is going to be less than 400 calories. And we'll begin the cooking right now. Water's boiling, so in go the noodles. Got to be very careful with this particular bowl. So we're going to let these cook for about 3 minutes. And in with them, we are going to throw the mushrooms, let them cook a little bit. And the spinach is going to go in, but not just yet. We want to let the spinach sit out because it's going to wilt only after about like 1 minute or so. So as the ramen cooks, we're going to give it a little stir just to make sure everything gets exposed to the water. And I'll be back in just a minute, guys. Okay, so the noodles have been in here for about 2 minutes. Give that a mix again. The noodles are starting to get soft. Oh, the spinach doesn't want to go. And you can see the spinach starts to shrink pretty immediately. And we're going to leave this in here for about another minute. I prefer to add the green onions on top instead of cooking them most of the time. Sometimes I do cook them. And yes, our beef is cold, but the noodles are going to pretty much reheat it by themselves. I don't want to lose all of the tasty broth when I drain the water down. Yeah, this probably just needs another few seconds. And you can see how much the spinach has pretty much disappeared. So we've drained our noodles. As you can see, they've expanded a little bit. And what we're going to do is dump this in. We're going to dump the Italian beef in. We're going to get the Italian beef in as quick as we can and get it stirred up so that the noodles can get it hot. And since I'm the only one eating this, I'm going to check with my finger. Okay, that part's a little... That part's a bit cold. So what we're going to do is we're going to bury it under the noodles. Retrospect, I should have microwaved the Italian beef beforehand. But if you can see that, the broth is flavoring the noodles, so we don't need the flavoring packet. We'll mix the onions in. This is a substantial meal made out of ramen and leftovers, and it's only 313 calories. I'm going to eat some of this on camera since it's the first time I have ever made this with Italian beef. It's very good. It probably would have been a good idea to just go ahead and microwave the Italian beef ahead of time. It's not cold at all, but it's definitely not piping hot. You get that crunch from the raw onions. A little bit of earthy flavor from the mushrooms, and the noodles do not need any extra seasoning at all. The broth was fine. And you can taste the Italian seasoning in every bite, absolutely. So I'm enjoying this. I'll definitely make it again. And hope you guys will join me for another Lunara's cooking video. Goodbye, guys. I'm going to go eat dinner now.